So my name's Evan Davis. I have a production company called Tucson Media Studio here in Tucson, Arizona. I started in video back in 1988, so roughly, over 35 years ago, I guess. I got into video because at the time I was really into music. I was studying instrumental music performance at the university here, and I realized I'm not going to make a living at that. That's just, and I didn't want to teach. So I took one of those aptitude tests that, tells you your interest, and it was hairstylist, artist, all this long list of things. I just couldn't see myself being any of those. But one of the things on the list was telecommunications, which at the time was television production. So I went to my local community college and I took a class called Introduction to Telecommunications, and never looked back. Bought a camera in 1990. I bought my first camera and a set of lights and some microphones, and I started making content. Did a lot of weddings originally. Then I started getting into working with nonprofit organizations in the Tucson area, and that led to me getting opportunities to work with nonprofit causes all over the world. So I spent the first 20 years of my career, I spent traveling all over the world, working with nonprofit organizations and causes, doing documentary style storytelling to help them connect better with their, supporters, raise money, tell their story. And at some point in time, I got burned out on travel. I wanted to stay closer to home, so I started Tucson Media Studio so that I could work in the Tucson area, continuing with the same kind of documentary style approach to storytelling, but now I'm working with a lot of businesses. Well, I did the weddings initially because at the time I was going to a very large church, and someone learned that I, saw me with a camera running around. I was like making videos for the youth group and things like that at the time. Someone saw me with a camera and says, "Hey, do you film weddings?" I'd never filmed a wedding, but I said, "Sure." And I actually ended up doing a pretty good job on that wedding, and the word got out. Like I say, it was a church of several thousand people. So there was a lot of weddings going on every year just with church members. And I ended up being the go-to guy to do weddings at that church. So I ended up doing a lot of weddings because of that. Ultimately, my passion, though, was to help nonprofit causes. My parents were very involved in working in nonprofit causes throughout my life. And I kind of grew up in that culture of you serve your community, the people that are on down and out, you do anything you can do to help them. And I liked telling those authentic stories of the need that, say it was a homelessness nonprofit, being able to film the stories of homeless people and the challenges and the plight, and being able to film the programs that this homeless shelter offers and put those things together in a story. I really loved that compared to like businesses wanted these highly scripted. To me, they felt contrived and kind of artificial. So after I'd worked with literally hundreds of nonprofits throughout the world, I realized that making a video for that organization allowed that organization to reach people they already, were connected with and tell them about the work that they had been able to do, but they weren't able to reach people outside of their circle. So I got the idea, what if I did documentaries on the issue featuring those organizations as experts, so to speak, in the documentary? The documentary could reach so much bigger audience than just the nonprofit might be able to reach. So I started making those kinds of films. My most the project I'm most proud of and that I feel was most successful is a film about gendercide, we call it. We filmed it in India and China, and it's about the son preference culture and the tendency to eliminate girls because nobody wants to have girls. In China, it's the one-child policy. Your son carries on the family name, inherits family wealth. Your daughter, once she's married, becomes a part of someone else's family. In India, there's a dowry system where when she becomes part of someone else's family through marriage, she takes a large part of your wealth with her. So nobody wants daughters, and as a result, millions of girls have been killed every year in these countries, either before birth with abortion or after birth. And so I captured that story in a film That film was very successful. It's called It's a Girl, the 3 Deadliest Words in the World. And it talked about, 40 million more men than women in China and India. There's villages where a man would, a girl would have multiple husbands because there's not enough girls to go around. Trafficking that results, so many of these related issues. That film showed in theaters in the US and Canada. It was in the top 10 documentaries on iTunes. It was on Netflix and Hulu. We had an action and screening campaign where we had 700 screenings in 20 countries, and millions of people saw this film, and hundreds of thousands of people took action. And the experts, the organizations that we were featuring in the film, got tens of thousands of dollars were raised. So that was, I think, the project I'm most proud of.
It's a Girl, right?
You may have, yeah. It was. I actually astounded how often I meet people and they ask me what I do, and I somehow end up telling them about It's a Girl, and they say, "Oh, I've seen that film." I'm like, "Wow, that's amazing." Okay, so Tucson Media Studio is has been a successful production company in that I've been able to rank my website well on Google, and I get a lot of good leads through that. And I get a lot of production projects in Tucson, but they tend to be one-off projects where I make a video for an organization and then we're done. And they're projects that have kind of a smaller impact, I think, than I would like. And Tucson's a relatively small market for me. I found that through Tucson Media Studio, I was limited in how much I could grow my business. So I had been finding myself doing a lot more social media strategies, a lot more creating social media reels and YouTube videos, educational content for people, and realized that really that's where things are going. And our audience is, with each new generation, we seem to be less inclined to want to feel like we're being sold. We want an authentic experience. We want a relationship with the businesses and the products we hire. We're more likely to hire a business or buy a product if we've seen a 5-star review from someone that looks just like us, a peer, saying it was great working with this company, or this product is really good, right? So the whole idea of social proof and creating content that answers your customers' most burning questions, answers to their fears and their objections, and develops a relationship with them, rather than trying to sell them, chase them with commercial content, scripting stuff that's manipulative, or I liked the idea of that much better, and I think our audiences today want that. So I got the idea I would rather have a ongoing relationship with a client where I can produce monthly content over a period of time and really move the needle, help them target their audience and get their content in front of their audience and develop that relationship. And that's why I called it relationship marketing. And so instead of trying to sell, we're developing a relationship. We're helping people solve their problem, really whether they hire us or not. And inevitably, they hire us because they trust us now, right? So relationship marketing is a little different model. It's predicated on a monthly content strategy. So rather than just making one video for a client, I make maybe 30 videos a month for a client. And this goes on month after month, and we do a lot of analytics and looking at the performance and then adjusting the strategy, and are we targeting their ideal qualified leads or not. So I'm able to actually get them an ROI. I'm able to actually get them new leads, new customers through the content. Whereas before, I made the content, I passed it off to them, and it was really up to them whether they got anything out of the content. And I always felt bad about that, not helping them really turn that content into new business. Now I can do that. I can create the content, and I can really make sure they're turning that content into new business. And I have an ongoing relationship with my clients where it's a monthly retainer, so it's a lot more stable income model as well. So I felt like my production company here in Tucson was doing okay, but I felt like I was limited in my ability to grow. So this new venture, relationshipmarketing.online, allows me to work with a national market. I can work with people anywhere in the US rather than just my local community. So I think that's where I was at. I was frustrated with the lack of growth, the lack of ability to reach a larger market, and the fact that my income was up and down. I would have really great months and then other months that were really low because most of these projects were just these one-off projects. Now with the recurring revenue model of relationship marketing, I'm trying to create a more stable income. So I wanted a service that was a strategy rather than just a video. A lot of the businesses I'd been working with, they would come to me and they would say, I want a recruitment video, or I want a promotional video, or I want a testimonial video, and I would make that video for them, and I don't know how they use that video or whether it really helped them. And I was frustrated with that. So I wanted to create a service where I'm not just a video content creator, I'm a strategist and a consultant, someone who understands how to get you real results from your video content. And relationship marketing has allowed me to do that. So it's a complete package that includes the content strategy and scripting. It includes how to share the content on social media as best practice for social media engagement. It includes a funnel that actually automates the process of making new connections on social media and getting your content in front of them, or targeting your audience and getting ads in front of them. So it's a complete holistic thing rather than just pieces like I felt like I was doing before. I think the biggest challenge that I faced was implementing the system for myself and proving it out so that I knew it was going to work for my customers. You can't really sell something that you're not actually using yourself or you haven't made use for yourself, right? So that required me to actually become a content creator for the first time, featuring myself. I'd created a lot of content for other people. I was always behind the camera, right? Now suddenly I've got to be in front of the camera, and I've got to be putting myself out there as a subject matter expert, as an influencer, as a thought leader in this relationship marketing method. And that was very uncomfortable for me because generally I'm the guy behind the camera, right? So I had to script a lot of my own content and get in front of the camera and film it and edit it and share it. And there was a lot of growth pains in that process for me. I'm at a point now where I've got my campaign running smoothly. I've been sharing reels and long-form YouTube content on all of the different best practices for the system, and I'm getting a lot of really great engagement, and I'm actually booking calls for myself, which is my ultimate goal for my client, right? Book them calls and get them sales. I'm actually booking calls and making sales for myself using the system, and adding that recurring revenue for myself. So I'm right at that stage now where my campaign is been active long enough, I'm seeing the results, and now I'm opening that up to new clients of mine that I've sold through my campaign. I'm implementing that now for them. So the new challenge is, okay, I've made this work for myself, now I need to really make them successful through this. And that's very important to me that I over-deliver initially, that these first clients that I work with, so I just had Eddie in the studio creating some content. He's a sales consultant. He works with tech companies, and he's a very high level, very experienced sales consultant. He charges $10,000 to $15,000 a month per client. So we need to target his ideal qualified lead. These are people in high level sales management positions. We need to get his content in front of them, establish him as a thought leader and a trusted, sales consultant, and then book calls with those sales managers for him. And so now we're creating a whole content strategy for him. We're filming reels and long-form YouTube deep dives and training videos and course materials for him. And we're just getting ready to launch his campaign. And we have a few new clients now that we're working with in different stages of launching their campaigns. And so that's the next stage, is to really make this successful for a few of my clients, so I can have really good case studies, really good testimonial videos that I can then share and just grow, get more clients and more clients.
And what?
Well, so Ashton is working on the Tucson Media Studio side, She's kind of taking over and more of managing Tucson Media Studios so I can focus on relationship marketing online. And so she's not really involved in relationship marketing online. She's involved in helping my local clients through Tucson Media Studios. She does a lot of those shoots. She manages the editing for those, and does, to a degree, I'm moving her more and more into producing, planning those things and developing strategy for local clients. So yeah, she doesn't have much of a perspective on the relationship marketing side of things. Yeah, if you wanted to get a little better perspective on some of the struggles, because like she experiences some of the struggles that Tucson Media does, where there's slow months and she's not making as much as she'd like, and then we'll have busy months and she's working maybe more than she wants. She would probably be able to lend more to the perspective on the challenges that led me to start relationship marketing. Yeah, in my early years, I actually worked a lot with Christian ministries, and so I actually worked with a nonprofit agency that was a Christian video production agency for the first 17 years of my career, and that was when I traveled a lot and worked with a lot of those nonprofits around the world. And then I transitioned into doing the feature documentary work, and then actually it was during COVID, during the COVID shutdown in 2020, sorry. During the COVID shutdown in 2020 was when I acquired Tucson Media Studio from a colleague who had moved to New York, was no longer running the company, but he had created a website that was ranking really well on Google, TucsonMediaStudio.com. And I purchased that website from him, redesigned it, populated it with my own portfolio, and launched Tucson Media Studio. That was in 2020. So it's been 5 years that I've been running Tucson Media Studio, and now relationship marketing. Yeah, he was a friend of mine, and he started Tucson Media Studio. He used to hire me to make video content for him when he was running Tucson Media Studio, and then he, like I say, got a good job in New York, moved away, and the website was still bringing in leads, but there wasn't anyone to do the work, so I just took that over and paid him for it. I think like anything, you have an idea, and you've got a vision for something that feels like it could be big, it could be a great solution for maybe a problem you've got, and then as soon as you start exploring that and really getting into the weeds, you realize, wow, I'm way over my head on this. And in my case, it happened pretty fast when I had already been creating some content, reels and YouTube videos for some of my Tucson clients. But so the content production side I was pretty comfortable with. But when it came to the whole social media management side and the funnel, that was new to me. So when I started getting into that, I started getting pretty overwhelmed about how that was going to work. So I actually hired a coach who specializes in this kind of model. He's been very successful in helping a number of other video production companies transition from being a traditional content creation video production company to being a more of a holistic strategist type of a model like this. And he helped me a lot. He has a course. You need to. So I was just saying, this coach really helped me to get past some of those challenges of just not having the tools or the knowledge to do the whole social media management and funnel side. And I feel like that without that, I would have probably struggled a lot more. Well, every time I've tried something new, I've had a lot of doubts and fears, and I think that's natural. I think, overcoming those is really a matter of just pushing through, because anytime you'll push through and you'll just keep at it and you'll be persistent, you're inevitably going to encounter the solutions. And then the doubts and fears go away because, okay, now I have the tools, I have the solutions. So this coach was a big part of that. I had some mindset struggles that he helped me kind of through, as far as, man, do I have what it takes to do this? Or, a little bit of that sense of imposter syndrome, of presenting myself as a subject matter expert or a thought leader in this, when it was something, that part of the strategy was new to me. I was very experienced at the storytelling side and very confident in that, but the marketing funnel side was, new to me. And okay, am I am I presenting, am I being honest in, my capabilities, that whole struggle. But he really helped me through that, and I think, that was a huge part of my journey. So I did reach out to a number of my current clients and presented this new strategy to them, and asked if they felt like it would be something that would be of value to them. And I got a lot of very positive feedback. And actually, some of my first clients in my business are those folks that I've done content for in the past, and I felt like this strategy would be a good fit for them. So I went back to them and said, hey, here's how this works, and here's how I think it'll help you. And I've gotten very positive responses. Well, like I said, when I launched this, I reached out to what they call low-hanging fruit in the industry. These are folks that I'd worked with in the past, and this is a new product that I could upsell them, So it was natural to just reach out to a lot of those folks that I had a relationship of trust with. And frankly, the ones that bought first are the ones that just decided, okay, this is a good fit for them. Folks like Eddie, I've known Eddie for a couple of years. And we had gotten together a couple of years ago, and he had asked me about social media, and at the time I didn't really have the tools to share with him, and so I revisited that with him and said, I feel like I have the capabilities to really help you now in your goals on this, and he signed right up. So I think my first clients were the ones that felt like this new service would be a good fit for them. Good question. So relationship marketing is fundamentally about targeting and connecting with your ideal customer, and then developing a relationship over time with them. And sometimes that ends up being that you help them solve their problem and they never hire you. But then they're going to tell their friends about it, right? But in most cases, they eventually hire you because they still have this challenge or problem they need to overcome. And a lot of times it's going to be difficult for them to do that for themselves, and they need someone to help them. So you've developed that relationship through your content over time. The way you measure that success is we measure the initial success in how many new people we've been able to connect you with, and how many conversations we've been able to initiate through direct messages. This whole system works on social media, so it may be on Facebook or it may be on LinkedIn, where you feel like you can target your audience best. So those DMs are where once you've made the connection and they start encountering your reels and your content, the idea is to get a DM conversation going with them. So that's the second measurement, is how many DM conversations are we initiating for you. The third measurement of success is how many calls are we able to book with new potential clients as a result of those conversations. And then ultimately, the ultimate measure of success is how many new sales are you able to close as a result. So we track all of those things. And so this system is very measurable, and within the first, it takes up to 3 months to really spin it up, because it takes some time to get the content out there, to start making those connections, to nurture those conversations. Statistically, a new prospect needs around 7 hours of content connection, touch points with your content before they buy. So that takes a little time of them seeing reels, you sharing long form nurturing videos with them that answer their questions and objections. And so it usually takes about 3 months to spin up to where you're really seeing the full results of it. And then every month we're monitoring those KPIs. We're determining, are we getting the results that you're paying for? And you're not going to continue to pay for a service if it's not, generating more income than you're putting out, So our goal is you make at least, in the first 3 months, you make at least what you've invested in building it. And then from that point on, it's 3x, 10x, 100x from that point on that will get you, especially if you have a high ticket item, high ticket product. Well, I'm early enough in my system that I'm onboarding a few new clients. None of them are to that 3 month point where we've been sharing content consistently, and I've been able to measure unequivocally this is successful. the the stages that I am in is in that content creation and beginning to share content, and my clients are ecstatic so far with the quality of the content, the expert thought leadership style content that we're creating that really represents them well. They're very, very happy with that stage so far. So again, a little early in the process here to have a full 3-month result to share. Yeah, starting this new service has been revolutionary for my own business because I've built this funnel system for myself, and I'm changing my potential to grow my business by being able to reach such a larger market. And so I think, like with anything, when we build something that we really feel can help people, generally it helps us first, especially in the marketing world. And before, it was in a way like the plumber's pipe always leaks. I was a plumber that was never fixing my own plumbing. I wasn't creating content for myself, and now I am. And the results of that have been really great for my business. So my goal in the next 3 to 5 years is to add, initially, my goal is $10,000 a month in new recurring revenue. I'm 59. I would like to retire in the next 3 to 5 years. And my goal is, if I can add $10K a month in recurring revenue, within a year I can have $100K a month in recurring revenue. If I can sustain that for 2 to 3 years, or even grow it beyond that, there's a high potential to sell the company. And that's my goal, is to work really hard to build this to the point that it's a couple $1 million a year in gross revenue, and then sell it for a couple million, and that'll help with my retirement nest egg. I would say, if you're a video content creator and you're encountering some of the same frustrations that I have in regards to the not having enough work, or having ups and downs, having those one-off projects that don't last very long, I highly recommend this idea for you. The advice I would give you would be to get connected with other people who are doing it well and doing it right, but maybe aren't in direct competition with you in your market. Like these communities, like this coach that I hired, he's got a community of video production professionals in various cities around the US, none of whom are in direct competition with me, and we all share best practices. He's created this course out of all of the experience he's had with helping these folks grow. So I would highly recommend you find someone that knows how to do it well, who is willing to teach you, even if you have to pay. This course and this coaching thing was not cheap for me. I spent almost $10,000 on it. But if I have the potential to add $10,000 a month in new revenue out of that investment of $10,000, that's actually a really good investment. So find someone that knows what they're doing, and don't try to reinvent the wheel. Don't try to figure things out from scratch. It'll take you forever to get there, and probably you'll end up giving up before you finally succeed, because you'll be so frustrated. Yeah, I don't think you even have to ask, frankly. I think that there's nothing's new under the sun, right? Nobody has a new idea. Everyone is repackaging something they learned. And someone that goes to college, or someone that signs up for a course, I'm actually going to create a course on relationship marketing that has some similarities to the course I took. It's going to be adapted to my own brand and my own voice, and I've got a little bit different. Their course is targeting video production. Their target audience are video producers. My target audience are business owners of all kinds. So it's going to be an adaptation. But once you've gone through something and you've learned it, you've internalized it, there's no reason why you can't, create a similar experience adapted to your unique style, your brand, and your audience. I don't think you even have to ask. Now, you can't plagiarize. You can't just take their, documents and just copy them into your course, take their videos and copy them into your course. You've got to adapt it and make it different enough and unique enough to your brand that it's not, that you're not just, plagiarizing their content. I've been adopting several new AI tools and using them in my business. They streamline not only the content strategy and scripting side of things. I use ChatGPT for that, but I also have a few apps, AI apps that I use for production, for editing reels that streamline the process. So I'm all for embracing AI, and I think if we don't embrace AI, we really are going to be left behind, and I don't think anyone's going to be successful in any industry without adapting to AI and how it's changing the industry. So yeah, I've thought about that. I think everybody is looking at AI and thinking, how is it going to affect my job? How is it going to affect my industry? Every business owner is thinking, how is this going to affect my business in the future? Video production is being disrupted by AI. That is the truth. However, it's also an opportunity. So folks like me have to start projecting out in 1, 2, 3, 5 years, how I'm serving my clients going to be different because of AI. There's certain aspects to video production that I'm not going to be doing anymore. There's services I won't be able to provide anymore because AI will make it so easy. And I think what I'm doing right now with the thought leadership reels, where I'm getting my clients in front of the camera and filming them and adding captions and creating reels, I'm not going to be doing that in a year or two, because AI is going to be so good at creating an avatar of you and having it speak on your behalf, just punching in text and creating a visual reel of you, really an AI version of you, speaking, sounding, looking just like you. I'm not going to need to get them in front of the camera anymore. Even this interview probably won't be necessary anymore, because you can create an AI avatar of someone, you can give it a script, you can put it in a setting, and you don't have to film on location anymore, right? So that's going to happen fairly soon. Where there will still be a need for people like you and I is going to be for businesses who have specific processes, and like they've got a factory, or they've got specific things, processes they need to show that they can't just regenerate with AI, because AI wouldn't know how to regenerate that in a realistic way. So I've got a client who wanted a recruitment video, and they're a metal fabrication company, and they do these massive metal, they have this huge warehouse and huge metal products of different kinds for engineering, for defense, and they have even a thing that they manufacture that goes in Elon Musk's satellites for his satellite system. And that necessitated a crew going into their warehouse and actually filming their processes of manufacturing, filming their people with welders and sparks going and stuff. That's not going to be something AI can. AI could generate something similar, but it's not going to be accurate enough. So I think there are still going to be a lot of demand for people to go out into the field with cameras and film. I think the cameras are going to get smaller and smaller. Support devices, camera movement, solution, all of that is going to be changing with the technology. I think we're going to get to a point where, rather than coming in with a big camera like this, where we have to go in and we operate it, it's going to be a drone, and the drone is going to be AI operated, and the drone is going to go around and shoot all the B-roll. It's going to have different lens capabilities. It's going to know to shoot this wide establishing shot, and then this angle, and then this angle, and go in for these tight shots. The AI is going to manage all of that, and the drone is just going to fly around and shoot everything. You're just going to let it go with a shot list, and you've prepared the AI for your goals, and it's going to capture everything, and then the AI is going to edit it and deliver. So yeah, there will be hardware involved. There will be people like you and I that have to program things, have to direct, make sure we're getting the right content, but the tech side is going to change dramatically.
Okay. All right. I will start with...
Are you going to stand there?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, and you?
Doing fantastic. My name's Tony. I'm going to be your videographer today, and you are Miss Ashton, right? From a videography studio, Tucson Media Studio.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so do you have any big plans coming up soon?
No, not at the moment.
Hey, that's perfect. You need to get to go home, watch some TV, right?
That would be nice. Or they could take a nap.
I swear. All right. We'll start with just those questions we have here. I haven't really studied icebreakers very much.
Well, usually you'll do ice breaking before they sit down, right?
Oh.
You just talk with them. And what I do is I don't want to draw it out further. Once the cameras are on, I want to get it going. But I'll say to them, I comfort them by saying like, hey, you don't have to get it perfect. You don't need to get it all the way through. We can edit. A lot of people, they want to know that. They want to know they don't have to, the whole time they're talking, they can't, like if they forget what they're going to say or they, stumble on something or whatever it might be. They want to know that you can like edit that. So that helps. Like a lot of times people get more comfortable. And then just telling them, it's just a conversation. Like, just act like we're just talking. Like, the cameras aren't even here. Things like that. And people tend to like relax a little. But a lot of times you just want to go. You don't want to draw it out more for them.
Okay.
You don't want them sitting here for longer than they really need to, I guess is how I try to.
But you're a master videographer,
Right.
Of course. You'll get it.
Well, for me, I'm okay.
Okay.
I won't get it perfect, but
Of course.
I'm not like super nervous like a lot of the clients you might have will be. So.
Yes, ma'am. So who are you, and how did you first get into videography?
So my name's Ashton Davis. I got into videography when I was in high school. Basically starting at film class, and my dad Evan Davis is he is a filmmaker. So and he's been a filmmaker my whole life. So he kind of like helped me to hone the craft and encouraged and supported me in my own interest. And then from there, I just started doing it professionally, like out of high school.
Gotcha, out of high school, right? And did you already think of doing I'm sorry, totally off tangent, but did you think of doing the therapy thing right out of high school, or?
I'm gonna pause you really quick. This is just a comment I have. You're lower than the eye line of the camera now.
Oh.
So I might recommend instead taking, I don't know what's in the shot, but taking one of these taller chairs if you want to sit down, just so you can be closer to the eye line.
Yes, ma'am.
Otherwise, I'm going to be looking down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's just like, one of those suggestions. Like, I don't want to tell you how to do stuff, but I know that you appreciate some feedback and stuff.
Of course, I am very glad I chose videographers to interview first. That saves my grade too.
Yeah. And then, just getting as close to the lens as possible is also what Evan has always suggested to me. So that, you're sitting as close to the camera as you can, so that my eye line is more this way than, over here. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's always recommended. Yeah, that's a lot better now. The eye line's a lot more close to the camera, so.
Perfect.
Okay, what was your question?
So, we asked before, how did you first get into videography? And you answered that it was high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and your father.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next one would be, what? Oh no, that does not. What? Oh, this is not the right person. Give me a second. Oh my gosh. Okay, so if I go over here. Do 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 do. that's the right one. And I'm gonna go to the questions I sent you. Here we are. Okay. Yeah, that's a repetitive question. We're gonna move on. When did the decision happen for you to take over the studio's regular work?
So that question's a little bit weird.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I just realized for this, there is, when I have you answer a question, can I get you to reiterate it in some way?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. That question's a little weird just because, like, I'm not answering it right now. I was just gonna tell you that was like I the decision that we made recently, like of my dad wanting me to do more, like be more involved, isn't necessarily taking over more work as much as he wants me to get more into producing, which is a different responsibility. I've been doing most of the video work for a while now. Like, it's been a thing that's just I've eased into over time. There wasn't like a point that we were like, you're gonna do all the work. And even still, my dad will probably do certain shoots that he wouldn't, you know what I mean? So it's just I don't know how to answer the question because it's just a little too black and white. So, I mean, do you want me to say like, that, like I can just say that I started, because that was why I was going to start, I started off full-time editing, and then I started doing more video, like going into the field, getting video, and then my dad started seeing that potential, and he was like, oh wow, like she's really stepping up, she could, you know, probably take on more work. And then was something like that work?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. That's what I'm like, I don't really know how to answer some of these questions.
That's okay.
Okay.
That's understandable.
So the question is, say again.
How did you first decide? Oh my gosh. When did the decision happen for you to take over the studio's regular work?
Okay. So I started out doing full-time editing. I didn't really do field work, like, you know, going out and the actual production part or pre-production. It was always post-production is basically how I started. And then I started to get kind of burn out on that and decided to start trying to get more into the actual production part. And Evan kind of noticed that I was very motivated in that, and so he started to do more training with me and take me out with him more and just giving me more responsibility. Eventually I started going out on my own and then just taking over more and more of the work that he would usually be doing. And now I do the bulk of the production, like going out and actually getting the footage. And then I still do some editing.
Okay, so you are more often the person who goes out and does the videography side. Similar to like the symphony that we went to last time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, well, for that, you know, we needed multiple cameras, right? So Evan will come out, and that's a little more of a bigger production. Like there's more moving parts. So things like that, he usually will come out. But if it's just something that I can handle on my own, then I do it. And that's a lot of what we do, really, a lot of the work we get. So.
Yes, I am. Where were you in your own career before stepping into this role? You know, it was high school, right? So.
Right. Well, like I said, I was, so before I started doing more production, I was doing full-time editing. But before that, I was just kind of doing jobs here and there, like minimum wage. I worked as a caregiver for a little bit. I worked as like a pizza delivery driver, things like that.
Let's see. What I'm trying to pay attention to as well is where to find the best moment to delve in, right? And usually, what I learned is you'll get a nice eyebrow raise for that. Typically, an eyebrow raise and a smile. That's what I got when I was a salesman. I would say we've gotten some, but not quite where we're going yet. How do you feel about taking on more responsibility in the family business?
I'm happy that I have been able to reach a point in my life where I not only want more for myself, but that I feel that I can. Sorry, actually, let me rephrase. I'm happy that I have reached a point in myself that I want more for myself, and I will take on more responsibility to make things happen for myself. And I'm really happy to have the opportunity to take on more and just kind of step in more and be more involved in stuff.
Okay, wonderful. I'm gonna move on to Act 2 here, where we're getting into the confrontation side, since it sounds pretty good.
Okay.
What's been the hardest part of stepping into this role?
Well, there's two aspects to it. Sorry, let me rephrase. There have been a couple. Okay, yeah, this is what I'll say. Do you want me to pause?
Yeah, we'll pause real quick. I'm just gonna give you something to hold on to. It makes people a little less anxious.
I mean, I'm not anxious. I'm literally just thinking, how I
Okay.
can best phrase
Yes, ma'am.
what I'm trying to say.
I'll
Because
probably do the same
it's
thing.
probably more like the question. It's easier. It would probably be easier to answer, especially with repeating the question back, is what challenges I've had rather than what difficulties. I guess like that was my phrasing. I'm like, okay, I think challenge would probably be a better way to phrase it for me to respond. So I'm like, okay. So also, is this going to be an issue with like jump, like jump cut, like I didn't have it the whole interview until now, or is that gonna be okay?
That's gonna be okay.
Okay, cool.
It's okay.
So a few challenges that I had coming into this role have been, firstly, when I just first started stepping more into video work, I was pretty competent with the camera. I didn't have as much issue figuring out how to actually shoot the different scenarios as much as actually directing, working with the client, telling them, basically you have to be much more assertive. You have to be able to be like, hey, this is what we're doing, this is how. Before that, I was doing a lot more just second camera. Evan was the one working with the client, actually directing, and then I was just shooting, right? So that was a big challenge of actually learning how to work with the talent directly. And then in terms of trying to step into production, or in terms of trying to step into pre-production, that's something I'm still learning. Actually discussing the strategy, how are we going to go about getting the product that the client's looking for, planning the shoot, budgeting, right, giving a quote, all of those kinds of things I'm still learning. But a big challenge I would say that I would have is just being very available, like just with the emailing or calling, just having to be really on it, be really responsive. Like I can struggle a bit with that, so that that's gonna probably be a little bit of a challenge. But
I get that too. If I could just say something real quick.
yeah.
Social media is one of the hardest things for me to do because I'm always doing something, and so setting a moment aside to do film I'm sorry. Setting a moment aside to talk and plan is very tough on that. Let's see here. How did you handle moments of doubt or pressure in taking on the workload?
So in my approach to handling pressure or just the extra load of work that I wasn't used to, it was just kind of like taking care of myself, trying to make sure I get enough sleep, making sure that I eat and I have food while, if I have a long day. And definitely learning how to say no when I can't handle a certain amount of things, or a certain shoot seems a little bit out of my depth. You know what I mean? Like just making sure I ask for help and I say no when I think that it might be a little too much for me.
Gotcha. That's good. That's good. On my side, I've never really done any real production up to date. Oh, I'll tell you more about Santo soon, though.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do that while we're here. And I'm gonna reframe a bit. I like 55 millimeters, but I actually do not want to stay in this.
Okay.
Simply because it would be better to get a little more background blur. So I'm gonna zoom in more. And then rebalance for height here. Raise up. That's good. Okay, 81 millimeters. Close to the left side, shoulder touching the left of the frame. Okay. Looks good. All right. Let's see if there's any more good questions on confrontation. Oh, no, not really. So we'll move on to the resolution side. It's about your vision and your future. And what have you learned about yourself through this process?
So I'd say what I've learned about myself through this process is that I'm a lot more capable than I've thought in the past. I've really been able to grow into a more responsible and I guess you could say I'm able to assert myself better. I'm able to be more confident in my work and in my ability to approach the product, approach the shoot. I feel like I can show up and I don't really have to worry because I know I'll be able to handle it. Even if something comes up that I'm right, because going out on these shoots, things come up that you might not expect. Technical difficulties, some issue with planning or with the client or whatever it may be. And I feel like I'm usually just able to handle it. And so that's been a learning process for me.
Wonderful. Has this ever helped you outside of film itself then?
I definitely think that my work in film and the confidence that I've built in my work and in my capabilities has been able to help me just in my general life and my sense of self, just feeling wow, I did that and I have a skill and I'm proud of myself,
That's wonderful. Whatever skills do you have? This is off topic. Do you want to answer, or we can just move on?
What other skills, or skills
Yeah.
involving film, or what?
In general, do you have any other skills you're proud of?
I mean, I do, but I doubt you want to use it in your video.
That's fair. How do you think your dad's new relationship marketing service will impact the studio in the long run?
The studio, like as in Tucson Media Studio?
Is it?
Well, what Evan and I have discussed is that he's trying to go in a new direction. He's focusing more on this new brand and this business that he wants to start building. And Tucson Media Studio isn't as much of a priority for him anymore, which is why he would like me to step in and, start to take on more responsibility. So it's just one of those things where we'll see where it goes. I don't, like, Tucson Media Studio isn't going to go anywhere. It's just going to be a matter of seeing where, how much we can work into him being able to, like, focus on his own thing, and then me working into taking on more of that responsibility.
Will it be something you can do while moving forward in therapy?
Therapy.
As a therapist?
I mean, I don't want to be a therapist.
Oh.
Are you talking about, like, how I want to be, like, potentially like a nervous system, like, coach, or it's not a therapy thing. Like, a therapist is someone who's like a license, and like it's a very specific thing, you know what I mean? But I get what you're saying. Okay. Do you want me to, like, contextualize that part? Because I haven't talked about my other thing, how I'm interested in, like, nervous system stuff. Do you want me to say that and then say how I want to be able to do both?
That would probably be
Okay,
better,
because I think people will be confused if I'm just like, oh yes, I want to do this at the same time as this other thing. Let me think how I can phrase the nervous system thing. Coach, educator. I'm like, what's the term? Because I wouldn't say therapist, like I said, because that's just a very specific thing. So I wouldn't want to use that term. Consultant. I'm like, what is it called?
Yeah, I would say consultant is probably closer.
Okay.
I'm assuming.
Yeah. So outside of my film work, I'm very interested in psychology, the nervous system, fitness, the body, very much the body, like helping people to connect more with their bodies, understand how their nervous systems work and how it relates to basically every problem in their life, and help them to be able to, like, take control of that and understand and make change. So that's something that I'm very interested in pursuing, and I plan on continuing that education, working into that as a career path, while also doing my film work, continuing to prioritize that, and just kind of developing those skills.
Yes, and you think you'll be able to continue running Tucson Media Studio while transitioning into being a
the nervous system stuff.
Nervous system consultant.
Yeah. So I'll just say to you offhand, this is something that my dad and I have talked about, where he will be like, I completely understand if you decide to go a different path and decide you don't want to work with Tucson Media anymore. My focus is to change my career. So I don't want to be a Tucson Media. I already know I don't want to be a Tucson Media forever. I really am just working in the position for financial reasons and because it is where my skill set is and I do enjoy it, you know what I mean? But yeah, I just should, is that what you want me to say? Kind of like that this is not like forever for me and that I am planning on eventually moving away from Tucson Media, or?
Okay, so that's a question that I'm gonna go a little more in depth on, simply because I do know I have to post this on YouTube for the school side, right? Not that one, but this one. So ultimately, what you say can still affect Tucson Media Studio. I'm going to assume we want to give him the best light possible for Tucson Media Studio still, right?
Yeah, I mean, I highly doubt a client will see this video and see like,
and be like,
oh, this person's gonna be leaving soon, or this person has a different career path in mind. It's like, I don't think they'll care. It's like, as long as I deliver the product and I work with people and stuff. I mean, you know, it's like, I guess, yeah, I wouldn't, if a client did happen to see it, I wouldn't want them to see me being like, yeah, this isn't really my passion forever. You know what I mean? They probably want to see someone who's like, I love what I do. This is my thing. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I don't know. Probably
okay.
not.
We'll redact it for now. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Although very interesting. Good to know. I hope you get the. I hope it isn't too far off for you. You know.
Right. Yeah.
Let's see. Interesting. Why do you think Tucson businesses need both the traditional studio work and the new marketing approach?
Traditional studio. So could you describe what you mean by those?
So for traditional studio work, it would be more like going out to your talent, getting the production work done, and then leaving, right? And you're all done with that. Whereas the new studio work is more where Evan goes and he finds a client and works with them on multiple videos, then has them set out at a different time and coaches them.
So you're talking about like how Evan's trying to do the like coaching them to make their own videos. Okay. I have to think of that for a second because I don't know. I'm not as what's the word, like, I'm not as familiar with that strategy as he is, obviously, because that is like his strategy with his new business. I'm more familiar with this strategy, like just the traditional stuff. I'll try to do my best to explain it. So you said, what's the difference between them, or what?
So, why do you think Tucson businesses need both?
Okay, need both. Okay. So there are multiple strategies for video marketing. The main one that Tucson Media Studio uses is kind of that traditional meeting with the client, filming for a few hours, and then getting out a few products that they'll use for, promotional elements or just for kind of long term. And then maybe they'll need some more work later on at a different point and they'll rehire us to do that. But there's also a strategy that is There's also a strategy that is becoming much more popular and effective for the current social media, how social media is, becoming way more important, and how people get out their product and make people aware of their business and all of that. So the strategy to get lots of content out, basically trying to post every day if you can, appealing to the algorithm. There's a lot of elements to it, but it's also important and something that people need to start utilizing for their business.
Okay.
Is there anything else I could say on that?
No, you should be good. I don't think you need anything else.
Because that's the basic of it, right? Is being able to get tons of I guess I could say how the company would help them in doing that. Because I basically just explained, like, this strategy is that people get out a lot of content, but not how the production company would help them. I said, for the first part, we come out, we film the thing, and then they have some products they can use. But in this other case, it's like, it works a little differently. In Evan's case, he's trying to teach people how to make their own studio in their house so that they can film themselves while he's coaching them. So I could say that if you want. I don't know if you need that context, but
that was pretty good right there. Yeah, that diversified both sides very well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want me to repeat it?
No, you're good.
Okay.
You're good. I'll be able to. Yeah, editing wise, we're perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, and then I think we will. There might be 2 more questions I must. Let me see the studio. Oh. No, we're skipping that. It's funny because number 18 was, how do you see the studio evolving under your leadership? And I was like, I think I can answer that. What's been the most rewarding, not to say that you don't do fantastic, of course, okay. Okay, I think we've technically been over what's the most rewarding moment since taking over. You think we've been over that as well? I think we kind of covered that.
I mean, yeah, I talked about just building confidence and enjoying my work and stuff.
Yeah, so we'll go to the last one here. This is our last question.
Okay.
What advice would you give to someone stepping into a family business role for a first time?
What advice?
Yes,
So, a piece of advice I would give someone who's stepping into a family business role would be to set boundaries. Like, when you're working with family, you want to make sure that you can have a professional relationship while also being able to have your personal relationship. And so that involves a lot of setting boundaries, communicating openly, being able to voice your opinions and be heard, and just working through those kinds of things.
Yes, Sam.
Does that work?
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's been awesome having you here for this shoot today.
Thank you. I really hope that you can get some